Hey, have you ever noticed that many top performers in almost any field of endeavor are so willing to share their secrets? Let me show you how I first learned this with a brief illustration, and then I'll show you 3 ways that you can use it to your benefit. A long time ago, when I was selling residential real estate, I learned that it might be a good idea if I found a mentor. Now, a mentor is somebody who's been where you want to go. They've got a little bit of experience. Maybe they can open doors for you. So I developed a habit of every month reaching out to somebody who was top in our field and inviting them to breakfast, lunch, or dinner. In 4 years, I think I was turned down once. Turns out people who've done well like to be recognized. Well, there was one realtor that I was super impressed with. His name was Larry. Now, Larry looked the part. He wore the right clothes, he drove the right car, he was educated, he was articulate, but best of all, year after year, Larry generated hundreds of thousands of dollars in commission income. I wanted to meet Larry. I did what I could, and eventually one day I showed one of his listings. Well, that evening he followed up by telephone to see how the showing went. We had a brief conversation, at the end of which I said, "Larry, do you eat lunch?" And he replied, "Well, yes, I do." I said, "I'd like to buy you lunch next week." So we set up a time, and I was so looking forward to that day. Now, before I move on, let me make one thing very clear. I wanted a conversation with another human being. I did not tell Larry that I wanted to pick his brain. Picking somebody's brain sounds painful. You do not want to inflict pain on somebody who could help you. So, the afternoon of our lunch, I arrived. I was excited. I was ready to learn something. I knew it would be valuable time, but I was blown away by what actually happened. As I sat across from Larry, he started sharing how he decided to go into real estate, how he started his business, how he built it and grew it, and right up to the very present day, all the secrets, everything that he did. And I was taking so many notes, I don't think I had a bite of lunch. As our time was coming to a close, I said, "Larry, can I ask you one more question? You've been so forthcoming today. Can I ask you, why did you do that?" And he said, "Well, it's simple. There's 3 reasons. Number 1, you and I are really not competitors. You show and sell my listings, I show and sell your listings. Number 2, our profession doesn't always have the greatest reputation. So if I can share some of my values with you and elevate our profession just a little bit, I've done a good thing today." And then number 3, and his smile broadened as he said this, he said, "Jeff, by the time you learn to do what I'm doing as well as I'm doing it, I'll be doing something else." So there you have it. That's why the best of the best are so willing to share their secrets. This is so important that I want to share with you one other example of this. Years later, when I was developing large dental centers, occasionally a new employee would come to me and ask. They would say, "My previous dentist or previous employer has asked if he could have a copy of our employment agreement." First of all, I would thank them for asking, and then I'd say, "Sure, send them the employment agreement, but also send them the orientation checklist," because they kind of go together. In reality, there were probably 5 or 6 steps to our process, but that would be overwhelming, so they would send off that information. Why were we so willing to do this? Well, 3 reasons. Number 1, another dentist at a different part of town or focusing on a different niche is really not our competitor. So if we can help them, that's a good thing. Number 2, dentists are not particularly well known for being good business people, so if we can elevate the business practices of even one other person in the profession, we've done a good thing there as well. And then number 3, by the time that dentist learns how to implement and master any process that we give them, we'll be on to something else. So how can you use this to your advantage? Well, number 1, don't be afraid to ask. Get into the habit of asking. There are going to be people that you look up to, that you admire, that are top performers in your field. Don't be afraid to reach out to them and invite them to breakfast, lunch, or dinner for a conversation. And then number 2, recognize the implementation is up to you. It's up to me, it's up to you. You can get great ideas and secrets from a number of different people, but only implement the ones that fit with your values, with your character, or your organization's culture. The way you implement is up to you. And then number 3, pay it forward. We learn best when we teach others. Speaking of which, if this video was helpful for you today, would you please share it with somebody you think might benefit from it? And if you haven't already, please subscribe to this YouTube channel. You can turn notifications on, and I'd love it if you leave a comment below that would be of some encouragement to somebody else. I'm Jeff Gunther. Making money is simple, but life can be hard. Isn't it great that we don't need to do it on our own?